Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review for AEW Dark, and I haven't done a single AEW review myself yet, so this is kind of exciting. I'm really excited about it, so I'm just going to get right into it. Before I start with that, I want to talk about episode 181 of Being the Elite, because some stuff that was on there ties into this episode and future episode of AEW Dynamite and such. We saw things like Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa were having a conversation, and they wanted to play video games, and Kenny Omega is pretty much losing it. He's eating, and he's just going crazy after, the Lights Out match at Full Gear. And they go to play video games, and Michael Nakazawa comes up with an idea where he needs to redeem himself, and Kenny Omega says he's going to get revenge, but Michael Nakazawa says that that's not a good idea because getting revenge can lead to bad things. Like me, when I tried to get vengeance for you, I lost concentration. So Michael Nakazawa gives Kenny Omega the idea to defend the AAA Mega Championship, and then Kenny Omega likes the idea and takes credit for it himself, and Michael Nakazawa is just cool with it. I loved it. I thought it was great. And you see other things happen, like you're seeing how Nick Jackson's transitioning on the road, with Matt Jackson not being there since he's, storyline injured. And it shows him, watching his match and stuff. You saw the Lucha Express having some fun backstage at the AEW Dynamite from, a couple weeks ago now at this point. And then I think that's basically... And then you see Nick Jackson do the Merge Freak gimmick where, he wants Christopher Daniels to play the role of Matt Jackson, which was funny, and he teleports like a hat onto him, and he gets his thoughts on it afterwards. And the biggest thing that happened on Being the Elite is the Librarians were doing an interview, and they were doing a promo, and Proud and Powerful and Sammy Guevara walk in, and they notice that Being the Elite's happening, and they make fun of them, and they attack him, along with Brandon Cutler, who was the cameraman, and they take the cameraman, and they announce that on the next episode is going to be Being the Inner Circle instead, and they take Leva Bates with them. So I enjoyed Being the Elite. I like that they used this episode to tie into future events of AEW with, Being the Inner Circle, kind of continuing the feud with the Elite and the Inner Circle, and, setting up this AAA Mega Championship match we had on the show. So I enjoyed all of this. So then we had the show itself. This was episode 8 of AEW Dark. This episode is called Indianapolis, Indiana. You can obviously see why it was called that. We had the host, Tony Schiavone, who was in a different location for some reason. I really don't know why. We had the commentary team of Excalibur and Shawn Spears. I like the fact that they changed the commentary team every episode. I think it makes the commentary team feel fresh, and I really enjoy that. I thought Shawn Spears was awesome on commentary. Even though he was acting like a heel at some points, I thought, he was right on point with calling the matches and stuff like that. We had the first match on the show. It was Pentagon Jr. versus Trent with Orange Cassidy inside. And Orange Cassidy didn't stay long. He just went backstage afterwards. And this was a great way to open the show. They both start trying to hit quick moves on each other. But then eventually when Trent goes for a rolling backflip, Pentagon Jr. counters it and hits a thrust kick right to the ribs. I thought that was great. Trent, gets the advantage early in the matchup. He gets a tornado DDT, a reverse neckbreaker, a wicked Russian leg sweep. Pentagon Jr. gains control. He gets a leg sweep, and in the beginning of the match, too, he throws his glove, and the official catches it, and he throws him into the post. He bounces his head off the steel steps, which looked unique because the steel steps weren't set up like normal. They were set up right next to the post. I thought that was kind of cool. And he looks over the arm of Trent. There was one spot where Trent tried to go for a backflip, where he gets Irish whipped and he backflips on the turnbuckle. And when he cuts off, Pentagon Jr. just hits a backbreaker or a backstabber onto him, which was cool. Eventually, Trent mounts a comeback. He hits a Torpedo Hero on him, and he hits a wicked 450. He hits a moonsault. He hits a tornado DDT himself. Um, Eventually, Pentagon Jr. And Trent exchange super kiss and thrust kicks on each other. But then eventually, Pentagon Jr. hits a destroyer onto him, but Trent kicks out. And then Pentagon Jr. hits a package power driver. He went for it earlier in the match, but Trent countered with a roll up. But then he eventually hits it again, and he hits the package power driver onto the apron, and then he puts him in the win, hits the arm breaker onto him, and he goes for a second package power driver, but Trent counters it into a sunset driver. They called it something else, but I don't remember what it was. And Trent actually wins, which I actually was surprised about. I figured that Pentagon Jr. would win since he's getting featured a little bit more on television and featured it more prominently than Trent, but I really don't have an issue with Trent winning. I thought the match was great. I gave it 4 stars. Then it shows a video package of Shauna. I think that's how you say her name. And pretty much this was their version of undesirable to deniable, but except they didn't have the typical setup for it. But she gives a little bit of info about herself. She talks about how she's loved wrestling for years. She first started watching WWF and then was instantly hooked and, wanted to do wrestling. And I thought it was interesting they mentioned WWF too. I thought that was kind of cool. And she talks about how she couldn't get really any work because it wasn't really big in Brazil. I think they said Brazil, where she's from. And then she had to go to France because the market was bigger and the culture was bigger, and she made her name big in Japan. And then she talks about how times she felt undesirable when she consistently got told no, that she wasn't going to get signed. She tried to sign with the other company, which she was referring to WWE, but she didn't talk about it by name. But they said that they would sign her, and then she never would hear anything. And then she talks about how she tried to sign, like in 2015, I think it was, she was on TNA Explosion, and she would consistently get told to, lose weight and pretty much, and she had, eating disorders and stuff, and, pretty much last year in October was going to quit wrestling, but then Kenny Omega called her up and said that she got signed to a contract, and it made her want to be wrestling again, and she felt it undeniable when she finally got to show the world what she was capable of. So I thought she had a great story. I really enjoyed it. And then Alex Malvez interviews Big Swole, and Big Swole pretty much talks about how we all have stories. I've gone through some stuff. I've fought death and diseases, but I'm here and I'm going to prove that we're here to kick your ass, pretty much. I thought it was a great promo, actually. Then we had Big Swole versus Shauna. I thought the match was pretty good. Big Swole and Shauna start chain wrestling each other, and then Big Swole hits a wicked big boot onto her, and she pretty much annihilates Shauna throughout the beginning portions of this matchup. She hits a suplex onto her. She throws her into the guardrail on the outside. She German suplexes her into the ropes. There was one spot eventually where she tries to go for a springboard cutter, but Shauna counters into a super kick, and it looked so unique because you thought Big Swole caught her foot, but she actually didn't. So I thought that was interesting. And then Shauna mounts a comeback, and Shauna actually ends up hitting a double stomp, like right across Big Swole's head while she's like laying upside down into like the tree of woe position, which was really cool. I thought that was going to be the finish. I wish it was, but it wasn't. But then eventually she hits a wicked exploded full Nelson suplex, or dragon suplex onto her for the win. And Shauna wins, which kind of makes sense because she got mainly like the video package and the undesirable, undeniable thing. So I thought that kind of made sense. I really didn't have an issue with her winning. I wanted Big Swole to win because I really like Big Swole, but maybe she's getting closer. But Shauna wins, really no complaints here. I thought the match was pretty good. I give it 3 1/4 stars. And then Alex Malvez does By the Numbers. This was pretty much since, AEW Dynamite, not this week, but last week, was returning to Chicago where All In was. This was a way for him to do By the Numbers. And it was 88 days since they were at the Sears Center, and Kenny Omega had lost to Pac. 0 times Chris Jericho has lost until AEW Dynamite November 13th, 2019. And then we had 8 stitches that Cody needed when he for the injury he got at Full Gear. So I like the By the Numbers than they do. I think it's pretty cool. Next we had another match. It was Awesome Kong with Brandy Rhodes versus Leva Bates with Peter Avalon ringside. The Librarians come out and do the typical stick where Peter Avalon gets the cheap sports heat, but they get cut off by Awesome Kong. I like a theme song. I think that's pretty cool. And the match starts. Leva Bates is reading Justin Roberts' book, and she closes it on the nose of Awesome Kong, and she tries to get the advantage but fails. And Awesome Kong just takes her out with a wicked palm strike, and then hits the Soul Destroyer for the win. Afterwards, I like to Peter Avalon tried to get in the win and stop it, but he couldn't. And afterwards, Brandy Rhodes and Awesome Kong go to scalp her. Peter Avalon tries to stop it, but he gets palm striked, and they scalp her, and that was basically it. This was effective. I thought it was fine. I'm really still not a fan of Brandy Rhodes being a heel when her husband's the biggest babyface in the company. That really just doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. The match did the job it needed to do. I give it 2.25 stars. Then we had the main event. It was a AAA Mega Championship match. AAA Mega Champion Kenny Omega versus Jack Evans. This was a great main event. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the fact that they defended the AAA Mega Championship in AEW. I think it makes all the sense in the world. It gets people to watch the AAA shows, and it's good publicity for AEW, so I have no issues with it. The match was great. Kenny Omega and Jack Evans start chain wrestling each other, and Kenny Omega goes for the Katari Crusher earlier in the match, but Jack Evans does some hip-hop dance moves to get out of it. It was actually pretty unique, very creative, and eventually Jack Evans is just, talking trash to Kenny Omega, so he hits some wicked chops on him, hits a wicked big boot on him, and Kenny Omega just destroys him in the beginning, but then eventually Jack Evans gets in control. He hits a springboard 450, a springboard splash, a wicked Katari kick, I think it's called, but Kenny Omega kicks out. Kenny Omega hits a wicked suplex into the turnbuckles, and hits a wicked drop kick on the outside, and he mounts a comeback. He hits a dragon suplex, and then he hits a second one, and then he hits one on the floor. That was cool. And he just destroys him. He hits a cross-legged Ushikuroshi, but Jack Evans kicks out. He hits a buckle bomb. Jack Evans kicks out. Jack Evans hits a springboard blockbuster, but Kenny Omega kicks out. Kenny Omega hits a sky high, but Jack Evans kicks out. Jack Evans hits a wicked high kick off the steps and a Torpe Hero himself on the outside, but Kenny Omega kicks out of all of that. And then eventually Kenny Omega hits a wicked running knee, and then the V trigger, and then the one-win angel, and Kenny Omega wins and retains the AAA Mega Championship. Makes sense. Really no reason for Kenny Omega to lose. He just came off a big loss at Full Gear, so it makes sense for him to come on and win here since he's having his match with Pac at AEW Dynamite. So it made sense for Kenny Omega to win. I still thought, though, Jack Evans looked very strong even in defeat, and I thought it was a great way to defend the title. I think if Kenny Omega is going to lose the AAA Mega Championship too, he's probably going to lose it at a AAA show versus an AEW show. That just is what makes the most sense. But that was the match. I thought the match was great. I'll give it 4.25 stars. I thought it was a great match. I thought, it's one of those matches, Kenny Omega, Jack Evans, you don't really know you want until you get it. So I really enjoyed that. Now going over the updated win-loss records real quick. So Awesome Khan is now 1-2, so I'm proud of her. Yeah, sorry, I have it written down on the list, and it takes me a while to find everybody. Sometimes, because there's a lot of people on the roster. So, all right, hold on. Okay, Jack Evans is 2-7, which I feel bad for him. I think he needs to start, getting some momentum, start getting some wins. Kenny Omega is 6-4. So there you go. Hold on. Pentagon Jr. Is 5-6. So that's actually a pretty damn good record. Leva Bates is still a loser. She's 1-4. So she's got to get back to work. And Shauna is 1-2. Big Swole, hold on. I forgot to say Big Swole's. Big Swole's 0-5, so that's not good. And then Trent is 5-5. So he's doing very well for himself right now. And I'm just going to make sure I got everybody. Yep, got everyone. Alright, so that's the updated win-loss record. And that was AEW Dark. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. I thought it was awesome. I'm going to give it an A-, and I'm going to give it a 90 out of 100. He had some great matches with, Pentagon Jr. versus Trent and the AAA Mega Championship match. And you had some nice woman matches with Shauna versus Big Swole. And I like what they're doing with Awesome Khan in a sense. I just don't like the fact that Brandy Rhodes is involved with that. And I like the video packages that they did. So I'll give it an A-. I'll give it a 90 out of 100. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell. So that way, every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and I'm Talking to YouTube channels. That's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.